Okay, so
part of it.
tonight's
I'll
stream
work myself into being mad again.
tonight's stream actually starts with a short film titled "What I Did on My Thanksgiving Vacation." So, you guys pop on and make sure it's up and ready, and you can see it. And
it looks like
I'm clicking. Yeah, watch it.
It looks like you're on the pause screen.
Okay, very good.
And I hear people.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start the film strip or something like that.
Yeah. All right, cool.
There we go. Okay. So, previously on World of Final Fantasy, if you recall the absolute end of the last stream, we did one little intervention quest where Seraphi becomes taller or whatever. So, after you do that, you can go back and fight the final boss again. Now, remember...
Oh boy!
Yeah, I know. So I wasn't going to do that on the stream. So it's the exact same fight, so you didn't miss anything in a manner of speaking. So, hooray for that part.
Prepare a short video of this shit?
Yes, I absolutely did.
Yeah.
That is more work than this deserves.
Yeah, well, guess what? There's a reason I did this.
Dedication to the slideshow.
So, okay, so then of course you get the actual ending with the little dancing and everything, and who cares? And,
very cool.
But the important part...
Well, don't bring it back.
...is after all of the dancing, after all of the nonsense, we're getting up there. Okay, there we go.
From Radia.
You get one little scene that the Enacross or whatever, or, the god du jour.
Square Enix.
Yeah.
Your resident god.
She's all like, well, I forgot one thing. And she basically gives 2 Prismarium boxes to, what's her name? The sister? Yule or whatever her damn name is.
Whoever, yeah.
I think she might be an aunt. I'm not actually sure.
She's a sister, damn it! So,
the Goggle Bob knowledge of
the implication from this scene is that any of the bonus content is not actually Lan and Ren. It's like they're Mirage duplicates. So they're just like monsters like everything else. And Juan, or whatever her name is running around as the character.
How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, I don't know. Win. They call her Win.
Okay, Win.
So Win is now the main character. And you can...
My God.
The post-game content is like she's the main character. You can buy like some of the stuff that I already hacked into the game by using champion medals, which,
of course,
you've already used them up.
Miserable, but sure.
And then 3 whole new dungeons pop up.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, good God.
And also you can fight the Cactuar dude.
Wait, did the girl who forgot her name ever remember her name?
Win?
Is that what...
Oh, yeah, no, we still have no idea what her name is.
Oh. I'll bet it's like something really simple, like Samantha.
Yeah, no, it's probably like just dude. But anyway, so these 3 dungeons are just stitched together areas from the rest of the game. And so,
reminds me a lot.
In a game...
I shit you not. The additional dungeons in the fucking FF1 Game Boy Advance remake.
Also, Final Fantasy V Advance did the same thing, if memory serves.
Good grief. Square has a well, and it likes going to it.
And the monsters in these dungeons are the exact same monsters you see. They're just like level 80. So they're the exact same...
We finally get World of Final Fantasy Advance.
Yeah, there you go. And at the end of all these dungeons, there's 3 dungeons, and at the end of each one of them, there's either Ifrit, Shiva, or Ruma, but they're dark versions. So it's like, who cares? So
I can't believe we have to fight them again.
Exactly. So I fought those 3 guys, completed those 3 dungeons. That opens up a 4th dungeon. The 4th dungeon has a unique boss. So we are now heading for the unique boss of the 4th dungeon, and I've saved us all having to go through those dungeons.
Yeah, I think you just saved us like 2 or 3 streams.
Yes, no, I agree completely. And there was just like...
That was very kind of you, Goggle Bob.
Nothing interesting happened in any of them. One second, I'm turning down my mic a little bit because I'm getting too excited. So...
Too head up about this.
You're too psyched about this.
There we go.
Too big of a deal.
So thus ends the film strip. There we go. We are back to normal. And now we are going to face the boss of the... My controller turned off.
Don't worry, your stream has not been weird. Goggle Bob was doing a condensed version of what was played off-screen.
Yes. So now we are back to the actual game. As you can see, the final area of this dungeon is actually the first area you're in the game. And our character is Win, who is leading like a team.
Also riding a wolf.
Riding evil Fenrir.
Exactly.
Can I point out how fucked up it is that that Win apparently has her brother and sister as Pokemon?
Yes.
Can I point out how shitty her hat is?
Her hat also sucks. I mean, it sucked less like when she was, when she's like in normal mode, but it really sucks. I mean,
she looks like a lawn gnome.
Sucked, but like, she's the toughest lawn gnome in the biker bar.
So now finally, after completing 4 other dungeons, this is the final boss, the final secret boss of the dungeons.
Oh, fuck, I just realized what this thing is.
I don't. Tell me what it is. Spoil it for me.
It's Mr. Xenogears himself. Xenogears.
It's Xenogears?
I don't think you're supposed to put it in.
I can't believe Xenogears came to Xenogears.
Don't say another word. This thing
That's literally what this object is called.
Wait, it's the Xenogear?
This thing is like a world much bigger than this one.
I think it's right where it's supposed to be. Can you imagine the existential horror of being made aware that you are not yourself, but actually a clone of yourself that's now your sibling's Pokemon?
I disagree with the idea that they maintain. That's up there. Complex thought.
That's up there with the existential horror of maybe you've been an auto-scroller all your life, and somehow through dumb luck, you haven't reached the edge of the screen. So you're still alive.
Maybe you've got a ultimate brain. But yeah, I mean, that's a really nice model of, Xenogears.
Excuse me, it is officially named XG. You're not allowed to call it by its name.
Too bad, buddy. I'm gonna call it Xenogears. Because that's what it is.
It is weird to me that would be the thing they would.
I mean, it's pure fan service. Whatever. There's probably.
It strikes me as a.
It's weird because this game fails at fan service so often that it feels like it must be for people who aren't unfamiliar with the source material. But this is a deep ass cut. It's not even a Final Fantasy character.
Well, my understanding is that sometime early, and this might just be a rumor, but my understanding is that sometime early into development, there was the idea that the rivals for the world of Final Fantasy would be the literal, robots from Xenogears, trying to invade Final Fantasy. But my understanding
actually
is
would
that
be kind of clever.
Yes, but my understanding is that didn't get very far due to probably legal being oh no you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even they own.
The Xeno series. I assume the creator of the Xeno, and let's have a little pause after Xeno, we're trailing off because we're not going to say the next word. The Xeno series is at least partially owned by its creator because he can put Cosmos in whatever the fuck he wants.
He does not own. He owns Nintendo by purchasing Monolith Soft owns essentially Tetsuya Takahashi's development studio, and they can partner with companies like Bandai Namco to include characters like Cosmos, but they don't own Cosmos any more than Tetsuya Takahashi owns Xenogears, which is to say not at all.
Okay, so I was totally mistaken then. I assumed that he had special permission to put Cosmos in whatever the fuck he wanted.
I'm sure he would love that, but no.
I'm sure he would.
Cosmos routinely appears in just random Bandai Namco crossovers, in part because of this. But yeah, Xenosaga was seemingly originally built with the hope that it would be enough of a success and that Square would play ball enough that they could buy the rights to Xenogears. That just didn't happen. In both directions. Man, I'm not big on these close-ups on his face, but yeah, like, so eventually, like, Xenoblade wasn't even originally announced as Xenoblade, at least not in the US. They actually announced it worldwide at, like, an E3, and the official English title at the time was Monado, the Beginning of the World. And then...
That's a very Xeno name, I gotta say.
Yeah, and it was like, it was one of those situations where, like, eventually, I think they gave it the name Xenoblade just to make it clearer that it was the next thing that Tetsuya Takahashi was making. It's like, yeah, you can, like, they can't trademark the prefix Xeno, so you can put that on there, and it kind of is like his signature at this stage.
Yeah. The Xeno...
And there is definitely... Like, there are huge thematic links between Xenoblade and Xenosaga.
They would love to make them a big expanded universe, I think. But at this point, it's like, thematically, they're very limited.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, like, thematically, you could basically say half the characters are, like, one-to-one, like, here's Ziggy again, so to speak.
Remember Ziggy?
To beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Because it is a good game that makes some bad choices.
That's kind of the thing that you could say about essentially every Xeno game.
Okay, yes,
but like it's
extremely true in this case.
And I'm not going to lie, I will say this now before God in the stream, but there are some significant parts of me that want to actually make that the next significant stream.
What, Xenoblade?
Xenoblade 2.
Oh.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
Yes.
I mean, that would save me a lot of trouble.
I mean, like, you're at least familiar with it for once.
I mean, that game's legitimately 50 hours long.
Yeah, no, it's a stupidly long game. Even like with
worse if you do Dawn the Golden Country.
Yeah, even like with excessive cheating, I really can't imagine. I really can't imagine that being the next big deal. Like, if we're gonna do that, you may as well. If we're gonna do that, you may as well just let me do Killer 7. Just like
I thought you were already doing Killer 7.
2000 Killer 7.
Beat needs a clarified time in his schedule to work on Killer 7, or it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
What I was gonna say was, yeah, both of those are accurate, and also I do want to say, like, I think that the world design of Xenoblade 1, like, just conceptually, is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a game.
Oh, easily. It's just goddamn amazing. And it holds together pretty damn well as far as, like, you have
Xenoblade
a sense...
1's probably the most complete thing that collective has ever made.
I mean, I said this in the Xenosaga LP, but legitimately, I feel like Xenoblade 1 was, like, the first time that it really felt like they understood the scope of what they were making and then actually made it. And it still has issues. Like, yeah, I do feel like getting went over to Techno God, like, loses something. But yeah, all the same, it's like, compared to what happened with Xenogears and Xenosaga, it's like, this is a game made by people who had a general idea of what they were doing, as opposed to not.
One thing I want to bring up, and you would probably know this, if anyone does, is like, the thing I remember reading once about Xenosaga, which explained a great deal about why it is the franchise that it is that when the parts of the Xenogears team that split off to form Monolith left, they kind of took they basically, like, they didn't have, anywhere near a full team, and, like, the hiring that started essentially was mostly, like, essentially relatively fresh college grads. Mm-hmm. And that those people, like, because of that, they had to sort of scale their ambitions around what those new hires were capable of doing, and that's why they became as cutscene-centric as they were.
I had heard that it was basically a very young team. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and so, like, on some level, like, while I'm not huge on the games that resulted from that. I do respect that kind of scaling of like, well, this will make a game that is stable for a new team to make.
Yes.
So, I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up, I guess, if we're going to do this kind of discussion.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, but also Xenosaga, I mean, I feel like
that game...
Well, the number one thing, like, pacing-wise, is they had to quit halfway through, essentially. And then what they thought was going to be a 6-episode series became basically 1.5. And it was
and
like,
of course, there's like the issues that they ran into where it's like, well, it kind of underperformed in Japan, but it kind of overperformed in America. And so you get Xenosaga Episode 2, which is a weird-ass game that was like, kind of like bits that were cut from Xenosaga 1, and also like kind of some new bits, and also like Namco being like, well, this sold better in America, so you should maybe try to make this look like Americans want. It's like, well, Americans bought the old one, why do you want to change it?
I hate to be the kind of guy who like always blames something on one or two RTers or whatever being involved, but also another thing from Episode 2 that was significant was that Soraya Saga was either left or was fired or something like that.
There was some change in staffing.
Right, yeah, and she was a huge proponent of a very specific story that they were then like, we're not doing this anymore. Which was the whole concept. The whole concept that Cosmos was basically going to go crazy and kill people, and Junior was going to have like a power-up where he became an adult, and like it was a lot of stuff that seemed like a really interesting story beat, but it was not necessarily something that would ever work as a video game. Like, for instance, with Junior temporarily changing into a basically entirely different character for like one battle, like that kind of stuff doesn't necessarily work in a JRPG.
Like, that's a huge amount of resources to put in something you don't intend to use again.
Right, exactly. Or just to even figure out how it functions when Junior's got 10,000 different attacks that now have to adapt to his adult model. But regardless, also I really like, I've set up my stacks here so they absorb the dark element, and apparently XG's biggest attack does 10,000 damage, but it's being absorbed, so it's like, hooray.
You're not having to use a Mega Elixir every single time.
Exactly. Yep. I actually vaguely remember this fight, so I was able to prepare for it.
The other thing I think about...
I mean, you do have like 99 Mega Elixirs, right?
This too, yes. And also,
the other thing okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the other thing I think about a lot when it comes to Xenosaga, like, as a whole, is like, the weirdness of the DS version that 3 is actually closer to following off of.
And also the DS version kind of tried to, A, incorporate some ideas that wound up in the anime, and B, like, streamline stuff between 1 and 2 that obviously by the time they made 2 things in 1 didn't make sense. So they tried to make it seem like, oh no, it was always like this.
Like, that was for version 3 is kind of following, even though we didn't get it.
Right, and that too. And also there was a huge bit where a character just kind of goes missing in 2, that in the DS version they're like, okay, here's actually what happened with her. But the downside of that is that if you never played the DS version, you just find out about that in a data file in episode 3.
Oops.
Pretty much.
I've generally heard, like, nice things about that version, as far as, like, that's a good version to play if you can, but...
Yeah, the big if you can thing is important.
Yeah. Just basically, like, people I know who speak Japanese and have played both of them. Yeah, the DS version's good. It's very strange. But yeah, like, Xenosaga's big issue is just that it never took off the way anyone involved wanted it to, so it just kind of died on the vine.
Yeah. It died on the vine is a good description of it.
Apparently, like, I'm curious, I need to try to follow up on if this is true, because Wikipedia claims Tetsuya Takahashi and Soraya Saga are married.
Yes. And my understanding is that that is accurate.
Okay, then I doubt it was being fired that happened.
Well, no, I believe there was something significant that happened there, like with between not necessarily the two of them, but with like management being like, no, it has to be this, and I believe it was one of those situations wherein, you know, it was like, we need you to either change everything you want to do or get out of here.
Yeah, let me check. Oh my god, the list of... I'm just delving into, like, Xeno products I wasn't aware of. Never heard of whatever the hell Xenosaga Pied Piper is.
Oh, yeah, the cell phone game.
It's a phone game, it looks like.
Yes. Incidentally...
I think you actually talked about that one in your thread.
I absolutely did.
I just, like, blocked it out of my brain.
Also, apparently, the game literally notes that XG is in the wrong game, we're not sorry, and we even got you-know-who to design it. So I wonder who you-know-who is in that case.
Well, I do appreciate their candor, I guess. Sure, let's go with that. Name your Mirage. Robit.
Yeah, no, it's that name, Xenogears.
Xenogears.
I would
Watch it be like one of the flag that has bad words.
Yeah. Nope, Xenogears is allowed. Okay, so...
It's like how that one game, Disney game like would flag a Sega as a bad word.
Nice.
Okay, so I assume what they're talking about is, for you-know-who, is Xenogears' mech designer?
I would guess.
Which appears to be a man named Kunihiko Tanaka, who did designs for a bunch of the Xeno franchise, as well as being like a character designer and manga artist for weird things like Key the Metal Idol.
Okay, so... Xenogears is now on the party. So, incidentally, what we just did... And I think Zeph has been asking about this. Maybe Callie Scrub. I don't know. I remember somebody asking. What we just
Probably Zeph. Callie Scrub would never ask about a video game.
Makes sense.
Callie Scrub asks me about video games fairly often. Okay.
What we just did was the absolute last bit of content that was in the original version of Final Fantasy Maxima.
So now we're getting into the...
other stuff.
So Maniacs, Ultimania, I don't know.
Officially now is the stuff. Now, here's the research I did in the meanwhile, like vaguely limited, but it exists. Apparently, apparently World of Final Fantasy had some kind of a cell phone browser style game.
That sounds awful.
Yeah,
that sounds incredible.
It was like vaguely gacha, but like,
of course it was.
I mean, because it would make kind of a certain kind of sense. But my understanding is that it was kind of a failure and turned off after a few years. But since they made stuff for that wasn't originally in World of Final Fantasy, my understanding is that some of the Maxima stuff is just reusing assets from that. Which is not to say that it's like bullshit, it's just a matter of anything that's like new and unique was made for that.
It's probably bullshit then.
I see a fourth door here.
But we'll find. Well, the fourth door was where we found out where we fought whatchamacallit. So that is now done. But my understanding is there's now additional intervention quests. Oh boy. Yep.
Have you done the Maxima stuff? So this is going to be new for you as well?
Yes, exactly. So this is the first new Maxima intervention quest.
Bloom in the moonlight.
Oh yeah, so Cecil is here. Cecil, whatever, man.
Celia.
And my understanding is he was in the cell phone thing, so since they had a model kicking around, they were like, hey, toss him in here.
We went an entire game without essentially any of the main characters of FF4 except Rydia.
Well, I was about to say Rydia was the most important one, so...
Yeah, it's just weird to me that there was just one character from FF4.
Rydia is the one, like, in the One Piece swimsuit, right?
That's all of them.
It's not all of them, it's the green one.
She is one of the green ones in a One Piece. I just need you to understand that, like, a lot of the characters illustrated by Amano are a lady in a leotard with pauldrons.
And blonde hair.
Yes.
Amanos are, he's the guy who, like, draws, the covers.
He does the logos
where
for
all
every
the
game.
characters. Yeah. But like his characters in the cover art at least look like, I believe I've described them in the past as emaciated ghosts.
Yeah,
they're
that's a
so
fair way of
skinny.
putting it.
They are so skinny and
They're so
pale.
skinny, they're so pale.
Wait, when did the horrible monster that I was glad died come back?
He came back in the middle of the last update.
Okay, well, I wasn't paying attention to that, clearly. I finally did my write-ups yesterday, actually.
And I think you mentioned that you were fighting to get the horrible monster back.
I mean, I was glad that he was dead. Like I said, I thought it was actually kind of clever how, like, they did the time rewind and, like, she, like, was like, oh shit, wait, I recognize this, the whole deja vu bit. So, like, you know, I was prepared to, like, give that a 6 out of 10, but then I realized that also the horrible thing
killed
died.
the mascot in the process.
Yeah, the mascot got killed, and that elevated it to an 8 out of 10.
Poor Tama.
Well, in that case,
Look, Tama chose
They
to
wanted us
use the
to
word
like
the as a comma.
He would have. If they wanted us to like Tama, they would have made him less irritating.
Your help is
Yeah.
appreciated.
Don't mention it.
Somebody in the thread pointed out that Tama has the same speaking quirk as Starfire from the first Teen Titans cartoon.
Yes. And Teen Titans
No,
Go.
no, but I assume you're
I
right.
was not happy with that at all.
Goodness
Tama,
That's
Adventurous
together.
Ball and Giddy Labyrinth for your Sega Saturn in 1994.
Also, Tama's confirmed female. I didn't pick that up until, like...
Nope, never would have. I didn't think it had a gender.
I was just going to call it Horrible Abomination. But sure, I will properly gender Horrible Abomination. I'm not here to, like, be misgendering.
Yeah, it's not
I'm a fucking bigot.
That's not the thing about it that makes it a horrible abomination. It's everything.
Yeah.
That's not the thing about her that makes her a horrible abomination.
Yeah. Like, if you want me not to hate Tama, you had plenty of opportunities.
Must be the Night Queen Edgar spoke of.
So it looks
Also,
like...
I'm
go ahead.
definitely not playing Hyrule Warriors while we watch this.
That'd be silly.
Getting bonus items and shit.
Oh, it's your dream.
I think
Yes.
I think if I finish these cutscenes, the R2-D2 will come back from the dead.
Please move aside.
He's
Why
R2
do you have the
fucking
FF4 character fighting your dream?
I mean, why not?
Sure, I guess. Why not?
He just said.
Dude with the cool hat.
I mean, also,
Cool ass hat.
Cecil's story here appears to be simply that he's getting the flower for Rosa or whatever, like, from not fighting an Antlion.
My money.
Yeah, but also he's not a Dark Knight. Got a million questions.
Also, Yoshiba's got to get
Apologies
paid,
again,
son.
But I cannot comply.
You expect
money,
Phoenix,
bitch.
yet you offer
me.
no deal.
I see. Then I
It would
have
be
no
really
choice.
cool if you two copyright, like, Strikes Morta thing. So when I said get paid, you could put Cypress Hill Money song in here. But, you know, you could never do that.
Creative Commons.
Okay, here we go.
I don't think Cypress Hill's entire discography is in Creative Commons, and that's a shame.
So these are entirely new mirages to be found, so that's kind of cool. They did not exist in the original game.
I will say
Inevitably,
a positive-
right?
I will say a positive thing about this game. I don't hate the design of the dude with the cool hat and the floating swords and shit. That guy's alright.
He's pulled mostly from FF10.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yep, naturally unimpressionable. Good call.
Can't believe it.
Perfect.
You don't get the cool thing. Fuck you.
You. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck everything. But
But fuck you the most. Fuck everyone. But fuck you the most.
Oh, no,
I have to mark this one as not for kids on YouTube again.
Fuck you. Hey, like,
that song.
if you wanted us to be like good people, Well, I don't know what you were thinking. Like, you knew, what you were getting into. Yeah, I mean, like, you had plenty of opportunity to figure out, wait a second, I think these two guys might be assholes.
Oh, wait a minute.
Word. Nothing. Swear and cuss us? No.
Good job.
Well, I successfully killed a man and his dogs.
Oh.
Don't I feel strong?
I feel strong.
I am not, nor have I ever been, a nerd. I have used some very powerful swear words on this website. Most nerds suck, so.
Dude, like, nobody uses strong cuss words like a nerd. Nerds believe in strong cuss words more than anything. No, I'm saying that exactly. Drill's parody is always perfect. His insinuation that a nerd would claim that he was not a nerd because he had used the strongest and harshest of cusses.
It is highly doubtful that a week of
That's extremely accurate.
Oh, there was a twist to this whole story.
What?
I don't know if the stream's exactly caught up to it, but like this is basically a story of how he took care of Rosa, and apparently it was actually Kane who was sick the whole time. So if anybody out there is writing fanfic about Cecil and Kane making out, World of Final Fantasy is here for you.
World of Final Fantasy's got your back.
And now I can summon Cecil, apparently. Cecil, whatever.
I sometimes feel bad that I have never in my life, had any patience or even spared a single thought for shippers.
What now?
I just haven't. Like, it's not something. The appeal is not something I've ever been able to comprehend or understand, and I've been a dick about it more times than I can count. And arguably that's bad, but at the same time, fuck you.
You're not gonna stop.
I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna apologize. Been watching these Serah Z videos where she speaks about it at length, and it's like, okay, yeah, no, I get it, I understand it, but I'm not about to say, yeah, no, that's fine. I will happily suffer this.
That's fine, but it's also not something I want to be participating party to.
It must feel really
You will not see me go, yes, it is cool.
I want them too.
Oh God, Funko Zack looks awful.
Yeah, well, they all look awful, but damn, yeah.
His hair in particular doesn't work, especially from this front-facing angle.
He needs to turn sideways, please.
Please turn sideways, Zack. You're hurt, I guess.
I guess I just killed Zack. That's his story. Thanks for reading.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Don't kill. Well, I mean, okay, kind of kill Zack. Consider killing Zack, but maybe think twice before doing it.
Zack has some major Sonic the Hedgehog Dreamcast era spikes going on here.
Yeah, no. It's probably the best thing I've seen in this entire game so far.
This is a guy who should be zooming around at the speed of sound.
He's got places to go. Gotta follow his rainbow.
I still think one of my favorite Final Fantasy cameos in Kingdom Hearts was just putting Zack in the Hercules world.
Oh, he was so doomed.
He was so doomed, and it was so perfect to put him there.
To put him there, and then also have him to ask Aqua out on a date. It's like, we're gonna have a best time, and it's like, oh, guys, no.
That was perfect. That was the most, the most correct understanding of where a Final Fantasy character should fit in this ship.
Many strange things are afoot under our feet. Not the least being the
Speaking of crossovers, I'm gonna bitch more about Hyrule Warriors, if you'll allow it.
Go ahead.
It's Zelda and Zelda.
It's Zelda and Zelda, but it's Zelda crossing over with itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so the original Hyrule Warriors had a shit ton of them, of cameo characters, right? They basically hand-waved in a whole way for there to be every single Zelda ever in the game. So we're really just the guys from Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword.
The air in this place seems to be teeming with energy.
And Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Twilight Princess. So those three. I think Skull Kid was there too, but he wasn't a part of the main plot.
I'm still upset that Grease isn't in Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, like that was a really weird omission because
yeah, the Grusinator would have fit right in.
The Grusinator is in that game. Just the Groose isn't.
No Groose.
Maybe he got loose.
Also, the Groose theme is one of the most powerful clown bully themes ever before. It's got the exact same energy as the Vulcan Skull theme.
Astonishing. The machines down here might be wiped
But
out.
like, okay, so in Hyrule Warriors, Goggle Bob, like, are you aware of some of the mild spoilers that like everybody already knows? Or
I mean, I think we knew them before the game was even released. So
I'm pretty sure we did. Okay, well, eventually, some of the characters from Breath of the Wild start showing up as, like, guys who got pulled from the future to avert the past, or... Oh, shit, who gives a fuck?
they're quantum leaping.
They're quantum leaping. They're here now, whatever, right? But they don't do anything with it, other than, like, having the Rito who helps you in Breath of the Wild meet, like,
the Night Queen was
meet Rivali and be like, yo, that guy's a dick. And, like, it's never done, like, it never takes advantage of the crossover, oh, these guys are meeting when they never could have. It never takes advantage of it to any great extent beyond, like, the two Gorons getting along famously, the two Grudo getting along pretty well, and the birds being like, yo, that guy's a dick. Why the fuck are you so... Fuck you, man.
Can I just say that what's happening now on screen is the most interesting bit of Final Fantasy crossover we have seen thus far?
Yeah, that is weirdly impressive.
It almost feels like someone in charge of the Maxima Content is like, oh god, we fucked up the first time.
Wouldn't surprise me. It's always, like, weird when, like, because you get one of the impressions I've got about this game from the beginning is that the people doing it were like, whatever, fuck it, who cares? And if you want to have a good product, a good anything, you need somebody involved in making it to care. A little bit, at least.
I mean, that's like, I feel like that's been the issue at World of Final Fantasy. Not necessarily that no one cared, but everybody cared just a little bit to remember, like, hey, Rydia, everybody liked Rydia. It's like, why did they like Rydia? I don't care, but everybody liked Rydia.
Exactly, right?
They had a list. They were like, this should be in.
Like, we've identified the best Final Fantasy characters and understand nothing about them.
Yeah, they cared about getting the characters in there, but they didn't care about the characters themselves.
There you
go. So in a weird way, it feels almost wrong to call this fanfic, because fanfic writers care so fucking much. They might care about all the wrong things as far as I'm concerned, but they care a lot.
It's like, who should these characters kiss?
Yeah, exactly, right?
You know what? I'd be more into that than this.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, same.
There would at least be drama there. Like, that's the other thing that, like, struck me. There was just so little. Like, such a dramatically inert plot for most of the game.
Oh yeah, for like most of the game, it's just these characters just kind of like futzing around.
Yeah.
It's like, we're underwater now, let's play with a princess, it's a penguin.
But, like, they're not even
like, so much of the game is just nothing fucking happens.
It's not even fun enough to be like, oh, they're just having fun with the toy box, because it's like, they're mostly just like putting the toys together in the way the manufacturer said they had to.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, this is playing with Legos and just following the instructions.
Yeah, this is playing Legos and not, like, putting the pirate set into the pyramid set.
Yeah, like, it's like you built the thing that the instructions say and then never did anything else.
Yeah.
Then maybe we could...
Cloud? Hey, man.
I am not going to abandon you.
Yeah, no, I like this because I genuinely don't know where they're going to go with this character. Like, are they just going to have Zack become a giant weirdo? Like, it could happen.
I thought Zack was already a giant weirdo. I thought that was his thing.
Zack was like a dork.
Yes, he's pretty chill, actually.
Yeah. Zack's got himbo energy.
Yes.
Around doing squats.
That's been like a consistent theme in this play.
It's a cultural moment that we're having. I'm just noticing.
where's our friend?
But like when I was thinking about what does he spend his time doing, I was like, oh, he does squats.
Yeah.
Well,
That's it. Nothing else.
He does do other things, but it's like, oh, that's a Mary.
Yes,
Oh man, I was so happy when I saw that they
like
kept the squats minigame.
I should go look for him, I guess.
I mean, is it even like? Would it even be a remake of 7 if they didn't keep the squats minigame?
Like they were very committed to like. There would be a very easy argument to make when remaking a game like that. That like, well, that's not what people came here for, and it's like, we can streamline it out. We don't have to do it. But to streamline out the mini games in Final Fantasy, in FF7 in particular, would be to miss so much of the dumb spirit of FF7. So the fact that they not only kept them all, they added more. It's like, oh, you understand.
So I assume once we finish all the Maxima content, the girl that forgot her name will remember her name?
Nope, never gonna get that.
Well, that seems like...
It really does feel like that just goes nowhere. There's no reason for it.
She just doesn't know her name, and we're gonna live with that. I guess it just adds to her lore as a weirdo.
She doesn't have any.
Yeah, like...
A lore as a weirdo.
Alrighty,
The
let's go.
girl that sits at a table.
Yeah, she just sits at a table in the void.
Like,
Just
to have
like-
mystery lore, it has to be at least unclear what she's doing.
Yeah, like, there has to be, like, something there. Like, I don't know. If, like, what are the anime teens' names?
Lan and Rain.
Okay, like, if Lan and Rain, like, came in and were like, hey, metal or hip-hop, and she had an opinion on that, that would be something.
It would at least be like, well, has she ever listened to any of that? Now I have questions.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions about her except why don't you have a name?
Yeah.
It really, at this stage, it genuinely feels like they just couldn't come up with a name for her and did that.
I mean, she sits in a weird fantasy dimension drinking tea. I mean, Alice seems like the obvious answer here.
Okay, and?
Well, there. It's done. Her name's Alice. Let's move on.
It would be really great if, like, at one point somebody said, so what is your name? And she just says, oh, it's, Michelle.
Steve
And they'd be
Dave.
like, wait, I thought you forgot. And she'd be like, no, you just...
Oh, yeah, I remember that later.
Yeah. I didn't know it then.
Just
I know it
fucking
now.
asked.
I've been busy.
You think I'm just, like, gonna keep forgetting my name forever? That would be weird.
Can I just say how much I appreciate that Final Fantasy Wiki has an article for the girl who forgot her name, and the section under personality is
Oh. Now now we all know, like, we all are, like, aware that really just means that, like, the wiki editors are too bored to fill it in, but, like, that is an incredible burn, like, sans context.
There's a part of me that wants to just go in and edit it myself to say intentionally blank.
Yeah, no, do it, man, do it. That's the reason wikis exist.
I'm doing it.
That's why I've got... That's the reason why. That's the reason why the jalapeno page still gets updated to 5, and then in parentheses the number 5 jalapenos on that one picture of 5 jalapenos. It's because God wants me to do certain things. And who am I to subvert the will of God?
Well, I done did it.
You're doing the proper things, and we're all very happy for you.
Now I just have to get back and...
Some Final Fantasy Wiki editor will revert that in 3 hours.
But for 3 hours, it will be a fact. Anyone who sees it in those 3 hours, so basically just us.
It'll be forever preserved on the stream.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, my confession to my crime will be preserved in stream.
It's not a crime if you didn't do anything bad, and it turns out it's actually good to vandalize wiki pages.
My name is...
Like, not like, ones that like, you go to for serious information, but for fucking World of Final Fantasy, acknowledging that the girl who forgot her name has no discernible personality, that's not
The list of quotes for her included the word hello.
I was just having a bad time.
Okay. Like, at that point, you're just desperate, yeah?
You saved my life, huh?
Like, at that point, blank the quote section. It's not helping.
Oh no.
Welcome to the far plane. You're dead now, Zach.
No, it's not the far plane. It's where Serah went to go get some flowers.
It sure looks like the far plane.
Oh God, did either of you play Final Fantasy 13 too?
No.
I played like an hour of it once.
Okay, so spoilers, they're doing it again because Serah dies at the end of that. So they're doing it again with Zack only can ask out women who are completely damned.
But also, he's completely damned. So
right, so like he's got a type.
Seems like he absorbed all the bad Mako energy out
Hey,
of you.
baby, you want to be doomed?
Baby, you want to die together?
We haven't formally met. I'm Alan. And this
Man, I'm
is
just thinking about
Alan
Saga Frontier Remastered.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like I need to do a tweet storm tomorrow on frickin'
Look at my
Asalius.
Aren't you?
Because I do, that is some major honeybee in energy there, in that it was something that was kind of cool in late 90s, and now...
Very dangerous now.
Yeah, I mean, I am not exaggerating. Asalius's entire plot is basically that a blood transfusion gives her gay.
Did you say
Like,
clown?
that is what happens.
Is he here?
You could fix a lot just by fixing the full human ending. But
He is here.
I don't know what they intend to change. I know that is the quest that they've acknowledged they intend to muck with the most. But
And if you look at what was cut from the game, you know that there was a lot of stuff cut from that because like the entire point of the thing is that it's supposed to prove that basically it doesn't matter if you're a mystic or a human, you can be an asshole or you can be a good person. And the unfortunate thing is that with the time that they had,
ending is that.
right?
You're a good person. Half mystic ending, you're a good person. Let's be honest. But
Yeah. Well, and also I just love that there's basically the good ending, and then there are the two other endings. There's the one ending where you become a gigantic asshole and incidentally gay, and there's the ending where you become literally a mom and a grandmother, and they don't say who she married, but the implication is obviously that she's straight because she's having kids. So it's like, if you think about it for 5 seconds, it's like, guys, this is not okay.
And you can understand them doing it in 1998, but you hope they'll do something about it in 2020.
Right, like, I mean, it's bizarre. Like,
Not a great look.
that it can even be revisited. It's like, you know, it's like she's not only gay, but she's got her own female harem, and she's described as the worst.
She's like a big vampire lord.
Yeah, no, it's just, you know.
Just make a good version of that ending.
Yes. I mean, she doesn't have to be both gay and evil. She can just be gay, guys.
This person is really important to you, Zack.
But yeah, like the half mystic ending, she's still kind of gay in that one.
Well, because she's half gay. I mean, that's obviously what happened there.
Wouldn't that just be bi?
I feel like it's more complicated than that.
Fair enough.
And also, my understanding...
Sexuality is a vast spectrum.
Yeah, and also my understanding is there definitely even the sprites still exist in the game, but the game originally had a scene where her and the Princess Rose or whatever, they literally are escaping from something and their clothes get burned off. I'm not even kidding. The sprites are still in there.
That's just the writer. That's just the animator was horny.
I was about to say it. Just the whole thing just reeks of we're going somewhere with this.
I swear I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, it's about as subtle as Revolutionary Girl Utena, you know?
Quiet, you.
I always just thought Revolutionary Girl Utena was porn.
Something about me saving the world?
Look, all I know about it...
chemistry, but not porn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing has ever been a more, powerful, ridiculous statement that on some level makes sense in context, but on another level doesn't. Than the bit in the Utena movie where one of the characters says, "Did you think you were the only one who could turn into a car?"
I mean, one would hope.
I'm glad that you managed to time that with Shiva who turns into a motorcycle being on the screen.
That shit's canon.
Sadly.
But But yeah, I'm just glad to see that Saga games keep getting re-released with really bizarrely high-quality re-releases.
Yes, no, agreed. I mean, I'm really hoping those DS games eventually make it over here.
I feel like that's inevitable once you get to, like, we're doing Frontier. It's like, Frontier was the point where the series gets weird, and weirder, and it becomes a question of how much is our resources worth. So once you do... I think Kawazu has also mentioned a desire to make those more available, so...
Okay, so it looks like we've done all the intervention quests that exist.
What now?
So we basically get Sissel, Serah, and Zack.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Alright.
That can't be all of the Maxima content, can it?
No, that's just the intervention quests that are now.
Okay.
And we also can buy their champion jewels, so we'll have to use those in an upcoming battle.
What now?
But
So
yeah.
that.
See you soon?
And now I think another dungeon has unlocked somewhere. And...
I do want to say that if they change in any way the translation of Real Phoenix, I'll be sad. That's honestly a good version, a good way to translate that. It's just also now a terrible pun.
Oh, I get it. So now I can... So let's see here. Oh, also, as far as Maxima content goes, just in case anyone was curious, the champion jewels that allow people to allow Lan and Ren to appear as other characters, they did not exist in the original release either. Super exciting, I know.
So that was Maxima content all along.
Yes, that was always there. And then also other Maxima content for those like nerds watching who are really curious. In the original game, you could only have 10 Mirages at once. In Maximum, you could have 12. It's like, okay. Really makes all the difference.
The real Maxima content was the things we turned our friends into along the way.
Yay! Okay, let's see. The ultimate dungeon.
Finally. No more dungeon.
Okay, so, wait. We're the ultimate... Oh, okay. So I guess we have to go back to the goddamn Crystal Tower.
We'll never escape the Crystal Tower.
I hate the Crystal Tower a lot. Which reminds me, I don't need to be palling around with Ruma anymore.
Get the fuck out of here.
I for some reason heard Ruma as Roomba and was like, man, first we're talking about Asimo, now we're talking about Roomba? Come on, man.
I think a Roomba could kick Asimo's ass.
Roomba could absolutely kick Asimo's ass. There is no set of circumstances where a Roomba would lose to an Asimo. I can't stop looking at that thing's gum like foot and claw.
I'm now looking up troll tweets about Roombas to compete with troll tweets about Asimo.
Of course.
Dick stuck in Roomba. My dick has become trapped in a Roomba. The bastard of automated paying devices. I want 911, please.
I want 911.
We all want 911.
What did I... Oh, I had... Grips. There it is. Okay.
Oh, Grips conflict.